All right, guys, let's check this thing out. This is the Honda Pilot that I won. It's crazy what companies will total nowadays. What's involved with that? It just seems so wasteful. That's the damage on the car. Anything you're seeing here, this is all just dirt from it being winter. This is like a 2024 Black Edition Honda Pilot. These are pretty expensive if you're gonna buy one with no history. These are trading in the high 30s, low 40s, and this is the damage. So we'll take it all apart. Let's see. Let me see if this thing starts. Probably starts because the driver dropped it off. Look, no deployed bags. These are cool little trucks. Okay, started right up. Okay. Yeah, I figured there'd be a blind spot error there. I'm gonna leave that running for a little bit, but do you think a $40,000 car deserves to be totaled for this kind of damage? Wow, it still opens. So we'll see. We'll see how bad this is when we tear it down. Whew, it's cold. Whew. Cool. All right, we'll do a next video on teardown, see how it looks. What's going on, guys? I'm here on a Saturday. I just sold our Expedition. Got to catch a birthday party after this, but let's check out the Honda Ridgeline. We took it all apart, and man, it's just crazy. It's crazy what people, it's crazy what can get salvaged nowadays. So this is that Ridgeline. So, obviously we got bumper damage we got to replace, and the rear reinforcement was barely damaged. It wasn't even damaged, like, it's still straight. The bar itself is still straight, but, the bracket here got beat up. This is what it should look like, okay? And this corner here got beat up a little bit, and he just literally banged it back with a hammer just now, but we're going to replace this. But it's really not that bad. This is still opens and closes great. So you can see this gap here is tight, and this here is open, but that's the plastic is damaged from being kind of pushed in here. But it's just wild that this truck, this truck new, this is a Black Edition. This thing new is like $50K, I think. Used, these things are 42, 43, 44,000. This is a 24 with 10,000 miles on it. It's got a really nice interior. This might be the most fully loaded Black Edition that we've had. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but tons of buttons on these wheels. 24 might be the newest one we had. Maybe this is some kind of a redesign or a facelift interior here. It's been a minute since we've had a Ridgeline here, but I'm just showing you guys, all salvage isn't created equal. This is what we would consider light damage. Do we have cars that are damaged more than this that we fix? Yeah. Of course, I could show you, I'll show you that SS in a second. There's no damage anywhere on the front. There's no damage anywhere on the sides. This thing's just straight off the transport truck, so it's all really dirty from it snowing out here. But I'm just showing you guys that all salvage isn't equal. And, if you're trying to consider buying a repaired unit from somebody, just see if they have the damage pictures. For example, what's a good example in here? This is one's pretty light work. We could check out, I don't have a good example. The SS is a good example. And this black Cadillac is a good, both of these are better examples on bigger jobs than that. Now, it's kind of complicated. When I'm buying cars that I want to sell, when I'm looking for the more regular stuff, we look for very light damage, stupid stuff. When I'm looking for unique stuff that's rare, I'm willing to buy damage that's a little bit more involved. Okay, this is a 17 SS. If you're not familiar with this, this is a rare 6-speed option. These are rear-wheel drive V8s, and this car is going to need a quarter panel, a rear bumper, a quarter panel. It's going to need some pulling in this corner over here, and then we obviously have to replace this door. Okay, so, and we're replacing this fender. Okay, so it's a lot of damage. You know, we have to new fender, new door, blend door, new quarter, new rear bumper. We're probably gonna blend the other quarter. Probably gonna blend this. There's gonna be a lot of paint work involved on this thing. And the same thing goes for this Cadillac. This is also a 6-speed car. Just because it's more unique again, you know, we're willing to do more damage stuff. Now, more damage doesn't mean structural. It just means that we're working in more areas. More panels are getting replaced. This fender, the door, and the quarter are getting replaced. And, you know what, I want to address one more thing. There's a lot of people that think that just because a car's got a rebuilt title and that the rebuilders are all ordering used parts or aftermarket parts. There's so many cars that we rebuild that aftermarket parts are not an option. There is no bumpers or fenders for any of the SS's or any of the Blackwing cars. There's tons of cars like that you can't get aftermarket parts for. How are we fixing this? Look at all this. All GM stuff, all original GM stuff. The Honda, let's see, where did the Honda parts go? We have an original bedside, brand new in the box. Bumper covers, brand new from Honda. The tailgate, we're replacing on the Ridgeline, brand new from Honda. What is this? Who's this from? Let's see. Honda of Libertyville. This is a brand new bedside. So bedside's new, bumper's new, tailgate is new, all from Honda, all original parts. So it's not always the case that just because a car's getting rebuilt that, you know, aftermarket parts are getting loaded into it. Sometimes I'm not against it. We do use aftermarket parts when it makes sense, but parts prices are getting funny. The tailgate new from Honda was, I'm just throwing numbers out. Let's say the tailgate from Honda new was $700 and used, I keep seeing them for $800. Why am I going to waste time for? Give me a new tailgate. You know, it's deliver the next day. I don't have to chase down a junkyard for delivery. Now, sometimes do we use used parts? Of course. These SS's are super hard to get parts for. You can't, it's almost impossible. And even while it's impossible to get new parts for this, I still have some new parts that I over-ordered stock from. I have a couple of fenders, a couple of hoods, but the car is moving slowly into the category of being a modern classic. And if you want to save those cars and rebuild them, you might have to use some used parts. A quarter, that car, I think we're going to replace the quarter on it, and I'm 99% sure we're replacing the quarter. We're not going to save that one. That one's pretty bad, so it needs a quarter. I'm not against using used doors. You know, we replace doors. We replace doors on cars that need them. It's a used door. It's not a big deal. So it's not always the case. You know, if you're rebuilding a car that it's got aftermarket parts, used parts is okay. Sometimes a lot of aftermarket parts are fine too. It just depends on, you know, taking the time to install them. A lot of people complain about fitment, but a lot of the guys that can't fit, there's a lot of guys that can't make a OEM fender fit, just like they can't make an aftermarket fender fit, and they complain about it, but the problem isn't the part. Going back to this Ridgeline, it's just crazy. You know, like, this is a brand new car. A 2024, 10,000 miles. And it's total. So, you know, when it's all said and done, this thing with no history is worth about 42 grand. We need to try to get about 32,000 out of it. Repaired, like nothing ever happened. And I'll keep you guys posted. We'll see how this one comes out.